Hello, my name is Scott Langston and welcome to this series of videos entitled What Is? And this one is about cognitive behavioral therapy. So what is cognitive behavioral therapy? So cognitive behavioral therapy is based on a very simple idea, which is that our thoughts and our emotions and our behaviors are all connected. So CBT works on identifying those behaviors that are unhelpful. That might be unhelpful thought patterns, unhelpful beliefs, and then challenging them and replacing them with healthier models, some more balanced, more realistic beliefs, which can lead to healthier behaviors. So CBT was developed in the 1960s, I believe, by Aaron Beck and Albert Ellis, who were psychiatrists. And it was developed to be a more structured kind of therapy than traditional psychoanalysis, which can be long and meandering. And it was developed to be a relatively short-term therapeutic intervention as well. It is commonly used and considered very effective for depression, for anxiety and panic disorders, for phobias, for OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and there's a video about that here as well. It's used for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorders, substance abuse difficulties, and eating disorders. But CBT isn't just for people with a clinical diagnosis. CBT is useful to anybody who wants to understand the way that their thoughts and their behaviors interact, and maybe want to do something about some of their more unhelpful behaviors or some of their more intrusive thoughts, and so develop better habits. So at the heart of CBT is something we call the cognitive model. And this is a chain of links. So we have a situation. The situation leads to certain thoughts. Those thoughts lead to certain emotions. Those emotions lead to physical sensations, which in turn lead to behaviors. And what CBT teaches us is there isn't a situation that is bad, it's our reaction to it, and the meaning that we attach to it. So, for example, consider a couple of people get the same message via text. They get the message, we need to talk. One person might be thinking, oh, I'm in trouble, what did I do? And begins to be anxious. Another person may think, oh, great, there's some news coming, and they're curious, and none of the anxiety is present. The situation is the same. They react differently to it because of their past experiences, and those reactions lead to physical sensations in the body. CBT also helps to recognize cognitive distortions, the way that we erroneously think certain things, thought patterns that are basically just wrong and distort reality. So there are some very common cognitive distortions, one of which is all or nothing thinking. You're either with us or you're against us. You don't like me, you must hate me. Catastrophizing, like something's happening, what's the worst case scenario, and then playing into that, believing the worst case scenario. Mind reading, making assumptions about what other people must be thinking and feeling based on how you see them behave. That's a very dangerous thing to be doing, and a lot of people do it automatically. Overgeneralizing, drawing very broad, sweeping generalizations based on limited observations or even a single event. And then emotional reasoning, believing something's true because it just feels true. In CBT, we explore those distortions, we examine the evidence, and we form more balanced and helpful conclusions. So a major part of CBT focuses on the behavior, what we call behavioral activation. And it teaches us that motivation often follows an action rather than the other way around. It teaches us that avoiding behaviors can lead to anxiety and or depression. And it teaches us that taking small structured steps can lead to big changes further down the line. CBT can also involve exposure activities. Exposure therapy as a separate form of therapy is the gold standard for treating anxiety. So within CBT, we often use limited exposure to things to help with anxiety. And in CBT, we use tools and many acronyms. So some of the tools that we use include goal setting. We use SMART tools. So the SMART acronym, if you don't know it, means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound goals. We use the ABC model. The ABC breaks down into A is the activating event, B is the belief or the thought that the client has about the event, and C is the consequences, including the emotions and the responses and the behaviors that follow. We use something called thought records, maintaining a record of the thoughts that we have and exploring those, whether they're automatic, whether they're based in reality or not. CBT, as I said earlier, is fairly structured. We usually build a treatment plan with very specific goals. We would meet weekly for 45 to 60 minutes. There'd be homework assignments in between those weekly sessions. And we'd use the thought logs or some other form of behavior tracker to monitor progress throughout the treatment period. And regularly we'd review what progress was being made. CBT works because it's evidence-based. It is backed by decades of very good research. It is structured and goal-orientated. It focuses on skill building rather than just talking and rehashing the past. It's collaborative. Therapist and the client work very much together. And it's practical. The client actually learns practical skills that can help them in their everyday life. And along the way, there's a lot of psychoeducation. So the client actually learns to be their own therapist, which is a massive life skill for the future. So in summary, the core message of CBT is that if you change your thoughts and your behavior, you can change your emotional world. CBT empowers people to break free from unhelpful patterns of thoughts and behavior to build healthier habits and develop a more resilient mindset. It is practical, it is learnable, and it demonstrably improves your well-being. So thank you very much for paying attention to this short video about CBT. Please like and subscribe below if you feel that's relevant, and have a look for other videos that are in this short series. Thank you very much again.